Hello everyone, welcome back to Amy's Bookshelf. Today we're going to talk about Agatha Christie. So today we're going to talk about Agatha Christie, but we're also going to talk about her special guest, Mary Roberts Rinehart. If you haven't heard of her, you should, and you should pick up her books because, my goodness, she's good. So we're going to talk about these three, which are The Mysterious Apparent Styles, And Then There Were None, and Five Little Pigs. And we're also going to talk about The Window at the White Cat. Not too much because it is an Agatha Christie review, but I want to have your opinion. Should I do just the Golden Age review style thing like this? Because I've been doing quarterly Agatha Christie's. However, I'm kind of branching out now where I'm like, Mary Roberts Rinehart. Ooh, Josephine Pym. Or is it Josephine Pym? No, Josephine Tay. Like, I have been trying a few. So should I do just a Golden Age authors review every 3 authors or every 3 books? Let me know down in the comments and I will do my best to, to make everyone happy and make myself happy. How about that? So let's talk about these 4 books. We're going to talk about The Mysterious Apparent Styles first. We are going to talk about them all in spoiler-free terms, and then we're going to go into spoilers because I like to. So the first one is Mysterious Apparent Styles. This was her first ever published novel. And the thing about this one is it is a reread, and I still fell for the trick. I still fell for it. So if this is your second time reading it, you might still fall for it because I did. This one follows Hastings as he is going to meet some family friends, I believe, and he comes to the Styles home. Like, that's the name of the property, as in England they like to name their houses. And he comes across this family when the mother has died. However, there is a problem because there are 2 of her sons and her much younger new husband. So who did it? They're all 3 men under suspect because all 3 of them stand to inherit depending on who committed the murder or how it was done based on the will situation. So it's a very interesting situation like that. You also then, of course, meet Poirot, as this is his first novel. And Poirot is in the village. Hastings meets him and finds him a very peculiar man. I like how Hastings is very shocked by Poirot's behavior and how he's like, this guy is weird. And you're like, yeah, but that's Poirot. That's what makes him endearing. And you're like, yeah, we like him still. Hastings, I still do not like. However, it's still a solid, good book. I really enjoyed this one. I also would like to say that this one I listened to on audio with a male narrator, and that changed my opinion of the book, at least for the better. Not 5 stars, but I gave it a 4 stars instead of a 3-star like I had originally. The first time I listened to it, it was a female narrator, and that is not very good when you have a male voice telling you the story in Hastings' perspective. So this one obviously follows many twists and turns in typical Agatha Christie fashion, even though this is her first novel. Highly recommend. The next one that I read was Five Little Pigs, and I also had read this before. This one I knew the twist, so I am not going to tell you anything till spoilers. This one is about a young woman named Carla who is going to Poirot, and when she's about 21, and she has discovered that her mother wrote her a letter when her mother was been sentenced to death for killing her father. So Carla's mother killed Carla's father, is what the justice has said. However, Carla's mother says, I did not do it, and Carla agrees, or Carla believes her mother. I'm sorry about the sirens. And so she wants Poirot to figure out who actually killed her father, and Poirot says, I will do my best to figure it out. Now, there are 5 other potential suspects, and he goes to visit all of them and find out who or what they were all doing at the time and gets their evidence or their letters. So all of them write him letters of what they were doing at the time of the events when, what is his name? Amicus, I think that's his name, died of poisoning, and it is a very interesting way of telling it. This book is also called Murder in Retrospect under another title. One thing I really love about this mystery is the fact that Hercule Poirot is nowhere near the body and he is nowhere near the original suspect. He only has the evidence after the fact, which is 15 years later, and he only has the suspect's word for it and their memories when it is 15 years after the fact. So I really enjoy this one. The setup, the design, I think Christie was brilliant at writing this one, and if you haven't read it, you really should. And like I said, Murder in Retrospect is the other title. If you have that copy on your shelves, it is the same story. The last one is And Then There Were None. This one is another one that is her most famous, I would say. This one is about 10 people who go to an island together, and they all are there for different reasons, they believe. However, they all start dying one by one because they have committed murder. However, they are not justified by the courts, or the courts cannot find them guilty at the very least. However, that is also up to speculation by some people in the home. So it is an interesting mystery. I really enjoyed this one. This is my favorite Agatha Christie, probably, at least maybe not for nostalgia reasons, but just like if I ever want to just listen to an Agatha Christie, I tend to go to this one. I don't know what pulls me to it every single time, but this is the one. I listened to the Dan Stevens narration and I love it. However, I do realize this time around at least, that if you have never read this story before, do not listen to it on audio, because the narration will trick you and show you that you are, like, will tell you basically, if you pay that close enough attention, to who is the murderer based on whose voice is saying what. So I would recommend reading it physically and then listening to it when you want to get all of the clues on the second time around. I'd recommend that with all Christie's books. Read them again, because you'll get all the clues on the second time around. It is getting hot. I'm gonna take off my sweater. Okay, now for Mary Roberts Rinehart. This one I want to talk a little bit about, but I'm actually gonna not talk too much about her, because Kevy, who I found out about Mary Roberts Rinehart, has made a brilliant video about Mary Roberts Rinehart. I'm going to just link that video down below. It is all about who Mary Roberts Rinehart is, like where she came from. She's basically the American Agatha Christie. I just want to say that. And this one is a twisty-turny book about stolen items, about missing people, about murder and confusion, and it is just so good. I think you should pick this one up. If there were like, oh goodness, I feel like I'm cheating on Agatha Christie when I read this one. I mentioned that in my my mid-month wrap-up for August, but it's so true, because I was like, ooh, this one's so good, and it's like better than some of the Christies, like some Christies I've read, and I feel bad for saying that, but I mean, not every book is a gem, so you just gotta acknowledge that. Anyways, this one follows Marjorie, who is trying to find her father who's missing, and so she goes to find a private detective. Not a private detective, sorry, an attorney. She goes to an attorney and gets his help, and he is the one that you're reading the book through, or he's trying to solve the mystery. However, when he tries to solve that little mystery, he gets into all the other mysteries. It is so well done, so brilliant, and I highly, highly recommend it. And like I said, you should check out Kevy's video for who Mary Roberts Rinehart is. I think you should totally check this one out. Anyways, we're gonna do spoilers now. These are just gonna be little low-key spoilers. I'm not gonna talk too much spoilers though about this one being And Then There Were None, because I'm doing a full review video, full spoilers, full discussion about themes and discussion points about And Then There Were None. I really want to. I've thought so many things about this one. I can't wait. So this one, I really loved how it talked about different elements of, I don't know, about humanity and justice and so many things. But I don't even really want to do spoilers up for this one. So if you want to do spoilers, you'll have to wait for my video, which is coming up in about 3 weeks. But I cannot wait to do my spoiler video on that one. So for spoilers about Five Little Pigs, I knew it was the mistress, first of all. I knew it was Elsa. So when I was reading this one, I tabbed every single time she was alone in the garden, every time she was near that situation or that event in every single person's story, because they all wrote a letter to Hercule Poirot about their version of events. And so every time that she was alone in their individual stories, I wrote down that. Also, whenever they were like, she's cold and calculating, or she's this way, I put a little tab. And so it was very interesting to see that perspective come together. When you're just reading the book and you're like, ooh, all these different characters, who is it, who is it, who is it? You just don't see like all of the different pieces, but when you're just looking for one person, it's very clear. So I really enjoyed seeing that from this time around. I like seeing all of the characters, but this time I had a very much of a laser focus on Elsa. And I think that made me see all of the evidence when it was presented at the first glance. So I really liked seeing that right away. I also like seeing the different perspectives of the people in the letter format. I think it was really well done story. And then the last one is the Mysterious Spirit Styles. Like I said, she tricked me again. I don't know how, because she did. But this one, Agatha Christie somehow got me. I knew this one had the husband being the guilty party from before. But then when I was reading it, I was like, of course it's not the husband. Of course it's not the husband. It's the youngest son. And then as the story progressed, I'm like, well, it's not the youngest son, so it must be the older son. And then it was like, but still not the husband. And then it was, of course, the husband. I was like, how did she do that? I don't know how. She still tricked me. Because she did. Oh my goodness. But yeah, honestly. No, Agatha Christie's very genius. Even in her first book, she was very genius. No, the whole thing with the costume box and trying to throw suspicion on other people and trying to get arrested so he would have evidence to show and not be able to try it again. All those different things. It was just so good and so genius for a first-time mystery crime novelist. I really appreciated how she threw that together in her first book. So a solid first novel, totally a solid 4 stars. Like I said, the first time around, I gave it 3 stars. I think that was the narrators. Having it be a woman narrator, that doesn't work when you're doing that. If it's Miss Marple, I'd be okay with that, but not with a Hercule Poirot. Especially when the narrating party is Hastings, doesn't work. So those are the books that I reviewed here. I'm not going to do spoilers for The Window at the White Cat. That title is tripping me up. But I think you should check this title out for yourself, or at least check out a Mary Roberts Rinehart. Very genius, and she fits in with Agatha Christie in my personal opinion. Also, do let me know if you want me to do a Golden Age kind of review every 3 books. I think that would be fun, but also if you want me to do only Agatha Christie and do another kind of review, I would be happy to do that too. Let me know what your preference is down in the comments. You can also let me know if you've read any of these or if you are going to. Anything like that, I'd love to hear in the comments below. Or if you would like to talk about anything else Agatha Christie or Mary Roberts Rinehart, give me recommendations for Mary Roberts Rinehart. I'd love that as well. Or another Golden Age author. Anything like that. You can also like this video if you liked it and subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you next time in another video. Bye for now.